4 marker.
Could be a long day, this.
Gloucester took off, got tongue-tied and dry. Start again. Back 5.
Hello and welcome to Gallagher Premiership Rugby's The Lowdown. This is your whistle-stop tour of the action in the Gallagher Premiership this weekend, coming off the back of round 19. Now, it's kind of our job on this show to talk the Premiership up a little bit, talk the games up, and even if they're kind of, it's a 5 out of 10, we'll call it a 7, won't we? We'll try and stay positive, keep the kids interested, but ultimately we're not great liars, the pair of us. So what that means is, when we say something is excellent, we do mean it's excellent. This round has been excellent, has it not, Tops?
Yes, I think. No,
Yeah.
it has. It has.
Well,
It's been really
we're
good.
telling the truth. That's what I'm saying.
It's been really good, and you can kind of see through this period now. Six Nations period is always an interesting one. You think, right, who's going to get ahead? Who's going to make some steps? And I think that has intensified the action. It's kind of building, and then we're going to get out of this period, and the teams are going to go, right, where are we? How many games are left? What do we need to do to get into the playoffs? No relegation, so not what do we need to do to stay up, but at least if you've been down there, what do we need to do to make our season better than what it was looking like 4 weeks ago? So it has been another excellent weekend. On Friday night, we had the return of Mike Brown as his Newcastle team travelled to London to take on Harlequins. On Saturday, there was a top-of-the-table clash as Saracens and Leicester locked horns. We had a West Country derby with Bath against Bristol, and Gloucester and Northampton took on each other looking to gain crucial metres in that race for the playoffs. London Irish looked to continue their good form as they took on Worcester, and the action all rounded up on Sunday as Sale travelled to Exeter in a repeat of last year's semi-final.
Right, we're going to do something a bit different now here on The Lowdown. We're going to show you some data, but it's exciting, I promise. Whenever we commentate on games, we get given data packs in the days leading into games. Loads of information, loads of stats, loads of facts, just to add on to our opinions. And often we steal those. Whenever you hear us trot out the stats and figures, we've nicked those off performance analysts and all the work they've done, and we take all the credit for it, which I enjoy. It's time to give some credit back to the performance analysts, key amongst whom, the chief of whom is Ross Hamilton, from whom you're going to hear in a minute. It really helps also that he's a massive unit. So basically everyone has to listen and do exactly what he says and repeat all of his stats exactly as he's written them, because he's actually quite intimidating, but also very good at his job. Ladies and gents, enjoy. It's Ross.
Thank you, Flair. That's very kind. We're going to start with Harlequins Newcastle from Friday night. Now, Newcastle actually played very well. They performed very well on the night. They had a lot of possession and territory, and I just thought I might define those. Possession is when you've got the ball in your hands. Territory is when the ball is on the pitch, regardless of who has possession. And you can see here that Newcastle dominated both of those with 59% possession and 65% territory. Now that flows on into how many carries they made, how many metres they made, and then how about this, defenders beaten, 45 defenders beaten compared to Harlequins 18. And it's all about taking your chances from there. Now you can see here again, Newcastle actually got to the red zone more than Harlequins did, 11-6. But the big difference is their efficiency. Now red zone efficiency we define as points per entry. So every time Harlequins got to the red zone, they scored 4 points per entry. Newcastle 0.91. Now Newcastle actually averaged the worst red zone efficiency in the league across the whole season so far at 1.9. So they're even worse than their own performance. And if you're looking at ways to define these results and why this didn't really matter and why Newcastle didn't win, then there's your answer.
So there's been a lot of talk about Andre Esterhuizen currently being the best player in the Gallagher Premiership, and in all the conversation around 12s at the minute, we're about to see why Harlequins get the best out of their main man and what it does for their game. So first thing, you want a 12 that can be a second ball player, move the ball into those wide channels, 20-metre pass off the left hand, no bother. Quins like to play expansive rugby. It means that they can get the balls into those wide channels, and Andre Esterhuizen is the man that can do that. But the action doesn't stop there, because he's now into the breakdown. He's looking for secondary work. He's looking for where he can make an impact. He is a big man. He's looking to take defenders out of the line, and here he goes. 1, 2, 3, 4. All attracted into that ruck. Consequently, 2 phases later, Newcastle's defence is so narrow that they get a try. It's impact. It's how you use your men. Look here as well. Newcastle want to plug that hole. You'll see a defender here calling, but eyes are on the threat. I need to go there. Nope, too late to readjust to get into that. So with or without the ball, he is such a threat. Final example, when he does have the ball, his ability to get the ball out of contact. Radwan does well to come up and shut the space. It means that Esterhazen has to take him on, but he knows, I don't want to ruck there. There's a 2-on-1 on that outside channel. I need to get the ball there. We want to go away and score. Liner does the rest. So when you get a 12 that gives you those multiple threats, it is a brilliant asset.
Last week we asked you to get in the comments section to say who you thought should be the long-term replacement for the legend Ben Youngs at scrum half for England. This time we want you to get in the comments section and tell us who you think is the best player in the Gallagher Premiership. It is Andre Esterhuizen, but you can vote for whomever you like.
So, top of the table clash here with Leicester travelling to Saracens, and a very important win for Saracens, you might think. Now, with Steve Borthwick and Richard Wigglesworth, Leicester bring a very similar style to the Saracens of old. And I just want to show you sort of who managed to get that on the pitch better and why Saracens got their win. So both of these teams want to play without the ball, kick the ball away, back their defence and take their chances when they can. And we really feel that Saracens did that better on the day. So we can see here that Saracens 39 possession, that's very typical for them. And I also wanted to show what that means in actual minutes, that Saracens only had 13 minutes of their ball in hand. So all of their prep in the week, all of the blocks and training that they do leads to 13 minutes with their ball in their hands. And that's all they need to get the win. Now the last element here, possession kicked. Leicester actually topped the table with 68% normally across the season, so they dropped a fair bit, whereas Saracens were able to maintain that. And then again, as always, the red zone, the opposition 22, very important factor. But I actually want to show how each team defended each other within this. So they had a very similar amount of entries, but Saracens were able to maintain a points per entry of 3.4. Now on the opposite side of that, Leicester got into the red zone 11 times. They had 60 phases within Saracens 22, and yet Saracens were able to defend that and limit them to just 1.91. So it was that managing of their own game style that they got onto the pitch better than Leicester that they got them the win.
A very good win for Saracens at the Stone X. It felt significant, it felt meaty. But first of all, Topsy, let's talk about Leicester Tigers. Steve Borthwick mentioned post-match the relative inexperience and youth in certain departments within his team. Is that classic protective DOR chat, or is he right? And actually, Leicester Tigers played well, didn't they?
No, it's both. I mean, he's looking at the game afterwards and saying, right, maybe that told, but he'll say, look, Leicester played really well in phases. They had control, they then relinquished control. The Sean Maitland try in particular, after they just scored, is a cardinal sin. And then over the course of the game, maybe Saracens' experience, you look at their pack, you look at that now, so that started to tell, and it became a problem down the stretch. So he's probably looking at it now and saying that wasn't helpful, but Leicester had enough in that game to really make a go of it.
There is so much space out wide. The Gallagher's going to walk. He's got it to win. Bath are going to win. They've done it. An incredible finish.
It's an incredible game down at the Rec. Flats, you were there commentating. You tweeted this was a game to go back and watch. Right, I'm giving you 1 minute. Tell us the story of the game.
I can't say a lot of things in 1 minute. It's going to take me 15 minutes at least. Amazing game. Bristol shoot out to an early lead. They're 21-0 up after about 3 minutes. I'm exaggerating for effect because we're on telly. Stephen Olango, just back from a suspension, ridiculous hit on Will Butt, easiest red card Luke Pearce has given in his career. He'll get banned again now. Bristol down to 14, they give away yellow card after yellow card, so a couple of periods they were down to 13 men as well. It wasn't the last minute, it was past the last minute. It was really, really high drama. And then Bristol fans, you know, I've been getting pelted with tweets saying if we still had 15 men on the field, we'd have won. You didn't, that's the point. You know, if you'd have had Michael Jordan in, they might have been better in the line-out. You didn't. It's kind of actually, it was what it was. Bristol very, very nearly got a very difficult job done after a wonderful start. But Joe Joyce said to me after the game, he said, we beat ourselves today. It felt a bit like that. I think I wouldn't go too far away from that, but that doesn't mean that Bath won't be celebrating what is probably, at a crucial time for them, a famous victory.
The shed is in raptures. They've got the try bonus point.
So another classic Premiership game here with Gloucester and Northampton, and Gloucester getting the win in the end. And I wanted to show how Gloucester really resorted to their bread and butter to get the win. Lots of great attacking tries here. Tries scored from everywhere, which is fantastic. But it was Gloucester's pragmatic play that got them the result. Now, Gloucester had a lot of positive outcomes, very, very high here, which means they made very few errors within each possession. They kicked away a lot of the ball, which helped minimise that and got them into the right areas, also supplemented with Northampton's penalty count, very poor with 16. Of Gloucester's 7 penalties conceded as well, I'll mention, they only conceded 1 in attack. So when they had the ball, they utilised it very well and got into the right areas, which is the red zone, so did so more than Northampton. They then went to their super strength, line-outs and tries off of the back of them. 5 line-outs in the red zone, came away with 2 more tries. 1 went over and 1 a penalty try. And it's also worth mentioning that Northampton had a line-out in their own 22, which they overthrew, and Harry Ellington went over and scored as well. So it was Gloucester's pragmatic play, went to their strength, went to their own game style, and that got them the victory on the weekend.
Another cracking game at Kingsholm. It's been a great round, this one, in the Gallagher Premiership. Really, really enjoyable. First of all, Topsy, Northampton Saints. They do some beautiful stuff, especially in attack, but they are ultimately, for the neutral, they're quite frustrating, aren't they?
That is the word, frustrating. They play some brilliant stuff, some great attacking rugby. I mean, they were running the ball from everywhere, from their own try line, going the length of the pitch, scoring some amazing tries. You think this is a great, great team. But then they just lose it. They lose momentum, they give that opportunities to the opposition. And with Gloucester, you know, similar like-minded teams in how they play, but when Gloucester need to roll their sleeves up, they can do that. And that was actually the difference between the two teams.
Yeah, how did Gloucester get the job done then over Northampton? Because some of the stuff Northampton did was mesmerising, but they didn't win. How did Gloucester win?
No, well, they matched them in that area in terms of, right, OK, you want to play this attacking free-flowing rugby, we can do the same. But when it comes down to it and we need to get over the Rhine, Gloucester's superpower has been their maul. Their maul has been so impressive this season, got them over the line and got them the win in a game that could have gone either way for a long time, but ultimately it's Gloucester that come out on top.
Yep, it ain't too glamorous, but it does win your games. Next, we're going to go straight to the Brentford Community Stadium, where you were there grafting, I expect.
Yeah, always
Grafting as
grafting.
per. It don't stop. It don't stop. London Irish against Worcester. Actually, another really entertaining game, if you're a neutral or if you're a London Irish fan, but Irish looking sharp, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, definitely. And this is one of those games where you thought, you know, Irish going well, maybe overwhelming favourites against the Worcester team looking to find themselves again under Steve Diamond. But what London Irish did really well was came out the blocks firing, really set that intent early on. I know Worcester had a tough week in terms of selection and COVID. Maybe that affected them going into the game. But for Irish, it was about sending a message early on that said, right, we are the form team. I mean, this is ridiculous. I missed this first time. I was like, how has he got that away?
I did.
But that is incredible. Yeah. And London Irish, almost like we touched on with Quinn, you know, just very confident now in the style of rugby that they're playing. Very ruthless, very efficient, doing things at pace. And it suits the team. It suits the profile of the players that they have. And they gained a real confidence from that. I mean, Gonzalez here, new signing that has joined, just loves running into and through people.
We have to mention the defence
yes,
there, don't we?
We do. He shouldn't get through there.
No.
But when you're a team on form and you're confident, maybe you break those tackles. When you're a team not on confidence, I mean, you should not get through that. But that is what happened. But credit to Worcester. They stuck at it, and then they sneak over the line here just before half-time, and you think, right, that's a good time to score. Really good finish there by Hewitt. And you think
well,
that
Noah Hewitt actually scored a couple.
Played really well. He's been a bright spark in the last recent weeks. So you think that's going to change the complex of the conversation at half-time. But London Irish come out again, that attacking intent. They get back on the front foot. And just the way they're moving the ball, that's the biggest thing. You know, they want to keep the ball in hand. Creevy is scoring tries for fun. I mean,
it's a joke how many tries he scores.
Yeah. Could he take my record? We'll see. We'll see.
You secretly don't want him to. You'll say you do and you're really happy for him, but you're not.
Oh, he needs to play for another 10 years. Irish, probably. This controversial, OK? It was given on a red card. On the big screen, it looked like a red. I probably could have been happy with a yellow. I mean, but with the sanctions and the framework and the way they are now, you've just got to stay away from the head. You've got to stay away from the head. That could be big, not just for Worcester, but for Scotland going forwards as well. That is huge. And then that old, you know, is it easier or more difficult to play against numbers down? Irish go very well and score this try. Curtis Rona has been brilliant as well.
What player?
He's been a glue in the middle of that park that is really bringing everything together. And Irish kind of go on. This is just nice as well. And it allows, once you get into this stage, it allows you to try different things. The fake kick to the corner, Irish start to rumble. And at this stage, it's very, very difficult for Worcester. And you see kind of that lovely, intricate play. They would have scored anyway. They still score. Paddy Jackson goes over. So that was kind of the story of the game from then on. And you've got a team in confidence, playing really well, understand what they're doing. They've got a style about them that suits them against a team maybe not in as much confidence. And it told, and you know, as the game went on, because it just became more and more difficult for Worcester, I think they were looking ahead to, right, OK, next week we'll come
very
back
difficult.
better, stronger.
And for Irish, you've got key players like the Creevies, like Paddy Jacksons, like Curtis Rona. They're just playing every week. Paddy Jackson in particular, what's that, 31, 32 straight starts?
Yeah.
That helps, doesn't it?
It is. It's key because you just build that consistency, that continuity. You know those boys are going to be on the pitch. You build form, you build confidence, and it is showing with London Irish. I mean, that was a cracking finish at the end there. Good resolve from Worcester, good resilience to come back into the game. But Irish playing well and feeling good.
Just one more game to bring you from Sandy Park. Here's how Chiefs got the job done.
Maunda, Capstick, Simmons again. Hendrickson, straightening beautifully. Deep inside the 22. Maunda, Sam Maunda, using Woodburn. Try! Something of a lightning strike from Exeter.
Well, that win for the Chiefs puts them back into the top four, but that race for the playoff positions is going to go right the way down to the wire. It's as you were at the top, with Leicester Tigers still in first, closely followed by Saracens. And at the bottom of the table, Bath, finally off the bottom. Of course, no relegation this season, but they've been replaced by Worcester. Flats, what's coming up next weekend?
There are no Friday night games next week for round 20 because, of course, Wales play France in the Six Nations. But on Saturday afternoon, it's Worcester Warriors against Exeter Chiefs, Leicester Tigers against London Irish, Newcastle Falcons welcome Saracens to the North East. It's Sale against Gloucester at the AJ Bell. And on Sunday, Bristol Bears play Harlequins at Ashton Gate. And live on ITV, Northampton Saints play Wasps at Franklin's Gardens. All the other games are available on Premiership Rugby TV Live. Right, one last bit to show you before we go. It's the Grassroots Beauts. You love this bit, we love this bit. Topsy, you like this one because it's your cup of tea, isn't it?
Oh, mate, man after my own heart. Can't wait, it's awesome.
Wheels out wide. It's Olney against Kettering Twos. Let's have a look.
And here goes fly half Mark Chapman, not hanging around for Olney. Centre Tom Smith up in support. Now this is Albi Tayazera, who is quick. Kettering know all about him. He's already beaten 2, he's beaten 3. 1 more to beat and he will be there. Oh, that is something special. Individual brilliance from Albi Tayazera, and Olney have a try of the season contender.
Albi Tayazera, take a bow. Wonderful finish. You must love that, Topsy. How about the little goosey at the end?
Oh, it was class. The goosey, the swan at the end, turn round, see the boys you've left behind, trying to catch their breath, wondering what's just happened to them. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah.
And 5, should have scored 6.
Should have scored 6, lazy. My favourite bit wasn't actually the try. It was just right at the end of the video. You see the opposition fullback just grabbing the back of his hammy, as if the old cramp, the old hammy's what stopped him. No, Chief, you wouldn't have got him with a fishing rod. You were nowhere near him. But otherwise, you had a great game. Wonderful try. Do send your Grassroots tries in. Put them on social media. Put the hashtag Grassroots Beaut. Somebody will see them. It might get on the telly if it's good enough. Whack them in. There are terms and conditions. We don't know what they are, but do read them. They're interesting. They're a really good read, Topsy says. And Topsy, on the Grassroots thing, good to see old boy Mike Tyndall getting back out there with his local club, Minchinhampton, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant. He's been there for years, you know, back in the game, doing his bit, getting involved with his team socially, and it's brilliant. It's what we want to see, you know, rugby game for all ages, all sizes. So if you're thinking about it, get involved.
I mean, we would be playing this weekend, but we're here, for you, in service of the game, of course. And my hammy's really bad, like your mate there. A bit risky for Mike Tyndall. Glad he's back, glad he's still doing it, but now he's had the teeth done and the nose done, presumably with taxpayers' money. A bit of a risk. Anyway, that's it for round 19. It's been fantastic. See you next week for round 20.